The famous rock-throwing ritual of Episode 2 is often called a Tibetan ritual because it came from the same dream that inspired Cooper to care about Tibet, but he does not identify it as a Tibetan ritual, and the most specific ritual element is as American as cherry pie. 60 feet 6 inches is the regulation distance between the pitcher's rubber and home plate in baseball, also known as the battery. After a warm-up, and assisted by a teammate wearing gloves, Cooper goes through the lineup, throwing pitches and recording balls and strikes, literally. It's a baseball ritual. And with that in mind, the way Cooper refers to the lineup deserves a double take.
Today, we're going to concentrate on the Jays.
That's a coincidence that the Jays can refer to one of the 26 Major League Baseball teams active in 1990, as well as one of the 26 letters of the alphabet. J is the only letter that can be misheard that way. And not just any MLB team, but one that's
Across the board.
like the One-Eyed Jack's Casino, which Cooper first learns about in this scene. There's also the T and the R, which Cooper draws circles around. T circle R spells Tor? That's probably a stretch, but David Lynch did write about playing baseball as a kid in this funny observation from Room to Dream, and Mark Frost is a lifelong baseball fan. He wrote a whole book about a famous walk-off pull shot World Series game, and his nephew, Warren Frost's grandson, threw a no-hitter for the White Sox last year. So it's certainly possible that one or both of them have had mystical dreams involving baseball. Baseballs show up twice in The Return. Part 11 opens with two kids playing catch who then discover the severely beaten Miriam Sullivan and call for help. While Part 12 includes a one-sided game of catch between Dougie and Sonny Jim. But baseball figures much more prominently in what could be said to be Twin Peaks' sister show, The X-Files. That other show about an open-minded FBI agent investigating high weirdness. Especially in this scene, where Agent Denise Mulder is anxious to learn the truth about Roswell from a primary source, an ex-FBI agent named Arthur Dales, who was an original founder of the X-Files task force. But instead of that Arthur Dales, he finds his brother, who is also named Arthur Dales. So, two identical Dales. But this Dales is impatient with talk of aliens and prefers to emphasize that
baseball is the key to life. Rosetta Stone, if you will. If you just understood baseball better, all your other questions, the aliens, the conspiracies, they would all, in their way, be answered by the baseball gods. You say, shapeshift. Agent Mulder, do you believe that love can make a man shapeshift? Do you believe that that passion can change your very nature? Can make you shapeshift from a man into something other than a man?
What exactly has your brother told you about me?
What indeed? This episode, The Unnatural, was written and directed by David Duchovny himself, so that speech was written by a Twin Peaks cast member and put into the mouth of a Dales. Could be significant for Agent Cooper's mysteries as well as Agent Mulder's. So, if we understood baseball better, would the mysteries of Twin Peaks be answered by the baseball gods? That is exactly what this Agent Dale is hoping to get out of his bottle-throwing exercise by creating a ritual space with dimensions that are specifically sacred to the baseball gods, and performing the most fundamental ritual gesture of the game. He is invoking those gods and inviting them to possess his arm, as it were, and guide his throws so that they illuminate a path forward for the investigation by striking out a batter that matters. Aleister Crowley wrote about baseball as a ritual, a Hindu ritual, for Vanity Fair way back in 1915. This may be relevant to Lynch's interest in the Bhagavad Gita and other Hindu scriptures, or to Frost's use of Crowley and friends in The Secret History. In his book, Magic in Theory and Practice, Crowley writes about various divination techniques and the personalities of different guiding intelligences behind them. Some, like the I Ching, are perfect, noiseless mirrors, while some, like the tarot, have an aloof literary humor and will elegantly misdirect you, or help you to misdirect yourself, if they don't respect you. So what about these baseball gods and the answers they gave Agent Cooper? What kind of a personality do they exhibit? What does it mean when a foul ball hits the umpire in the head? Man, I really wonder what that dream was. And oh yeah, what does any of this have to do with Tibet? Well, there was a non-existent Tibetan baseball player, a super pitcher presented as an April Fool's joke by Sports Illustrated in 1985, and the first real Tibetan ball player was drafted in 2017, the year of the return. But speaking of real magic, let's go back to the original script for this scene, which begins with Cooper wondering about the meaning of Josie's dog's name, Koro. Why that particular name? Well, Koro provides the link to Tibet. There's an eccentric branch of the Sino-Tibetan or Tibeto-Burman family of languages called Koro. Fascinating, but funny thing, this language wasn't discovered until 2009. No one in the wider world knew that there was a non-fiction association between Koro and Tibet until almost 2 decades after Twin Peaks wrote them into the same scene. If Lynch or Frost had a particular reason for including that name in this scene, it was necessarily unrelated. So what was it? Well, what if there was no reason? What if the scene about the divination ritual was written with a space left blank to be filled in by constrained chance? What if that name was asked for and received from some semi-random, chaotic source like pulling letters out of a hat, or throwing stones at bottles with letters on them? Or maybe some more formally designed ritual to invoke those detective story gods, inviting them to possess the arm of the writer and guide it to douse a clue from the future. Or maybe Koro has a more prosaic excuse for showing up next to Tibet. Either way, whether by deliberate divination or accidental synchronicity, it is mysterious and apt. And asked Jay's case most definitely.